I'd like to focus today on a news story out of Brussels that's going to have a huge effect on Germany and the whole of the EU. After months of talks, of votes, of consultations, of protests, more discussions, of petitions, the European Union finally passed one of its most controversial pieces of legislation in its history last week on March 26th. Inventor of the World Wide Web, Tim Berners-Lee, co-founder of Wikipedia, Jimmy Wales, and over 70 other internet pioneers signed an open letter to the President of the European Parliament last summer, warning that the bill that they were working on was a directive that was an imminent threat to the future of the internet. Over 5 million people signed Change.org's largest ever petition to try and get the EU to reconsider. Hundreds of thousands turned out to protest, but none of that mattered. The European Parliament passed its new copyright directive, its largest ever attack on a free and open internet. Now, the troublesome part of this directive revolves mostly around two clauses that are more dangerous than they first appear. Article 11 sets up the link tax, so no quoting more than just a few words without paying the person who wrote those words, which sounds great in theory. Journalists get paid for their content. That's a good thing, especially speaking as a journalist. But it's been tried before, and the reality is people stop quoting and linking to journalists, especially to smaller publications. It can even be used to silence people that disagree with you and quote your material in order to argue with it. And the other part of this that's really grabbed attention is Article 13. It forces various internet companies to check everything that the public uploads for copyright infringement before it goes online. So things like this video that you're watching right now would have to go through some kind of filter system before it gets posted. Computers get things wrong all the time. So under this system, parody and comedy could become much harder. But so could political commentary. If I quote an article in this video, or if we post extract of news footage, a computer may rule that that's illegal, even if it's fine. Even more concerning though, it forces internet companies to build a filter that could be used for almost anything. Once it's up and running, the EU could mandate that it just shift from, say, copyright legislation to filtering hate speech too, which just means a filter that blocks out anything the EU doesn't like. This is why Tim Berners-Lee and his fellows warned that Article 13 takes an unprecedented step towards the transformation of the internet from an open platform for sharing and innovation into a tool for the automated surveillance and control of its users. Diego Naranjo, Senior Policy Advisor at European Digital Rights, warned that Article 13 of the directive sets a dangerous precedent for internet filters and automated censorship mechanisms in the EU and across the globe. This kind of restrictive move to control the internet, that's exactly what we'd expect from the EU, and exactly the kind of move the Bible tells us to expect. Here at The Trumpet, we've taught for years that the EU will morph into the beast power described in the book of Revelation, a dominant, authoritarian empire. Revelation 13 describes this beast power trying to control exactly what people buy and sell. Now, that prophecy shows this power is going to try and clamp down on what people say and what they believe. Now, the EU can look harmless, useless even, certainly very bureaucratic and cumbersome, but it is already moving in this direction. To read more about this new censorship directive and these Bible prophecies, you can read my article from last week. This article, soon blocked by the EU, on our website, thetrumpet.com. You can go there for much more free literature as well that we can send to you for free, or that you can read online, that will give you much more detail about what is happening and what the Bible says about what is happening right now in Europe.